Today we have a 2009 X5 with a diesel in it, and it died going down the road and won't restart. So they came to me with a completely dead battery, which I've since charged up. And so far I have torn out the back seat because I couldn't hear the fuel pump running, and made sure I was getting power to the fuel pump. And then, which I am, so that's not the issue. I also pulled off the fuel line right here under the hood and made sure the fuel pump was pumping, which it is. So that's not my issue. It's kind of dirty under here, but I took off the engine cover, and these plastic pieces up under the hood there, and this foam on top of the engine, which was completely soaking wet. And I pulled out the air filter, which has definitely seen better days. So I removed the air box and I looked up the fault codes, and this thing had about 100 faults in it. There's a couple of them which are permanent. We got a mass airflow sensor fault, and we found this sensor on the side of the engine over here, just laying down in here, so there's a hole in the intake where that goes. I also found a fault P0611, which is for injection control, I guess. And I'm not a diesel guy, so this is all kind of new to me. Let me get this out of the way. But I found this injector connector back here, and let me get my light. This injector is completely full. See if we can get a picture of water and rust. So I'm hoping we can just clean that out and make this thing run. I've since done a little bit of research and got a few things I'm going to try. So we'll set up the camera here and see if I can make this thing go again. So we'll get that fuel injector connector all cleaned out. Next thing, I plug that sensor back in. Looks like the intake pressure sensor, I would guess. And we'll give her a shot. Yeah, still no go. So I checked faults again, still getting P0611. I checked for high pressure fuel pumps mechanical. So the scan tool said I had that. I also physically checked it by cracking one of the lines loose. Yeah, that's not the problem. Everything here is pointing me to the injectors aren't injecting fuel. It runs on carb cleaner as well. I spray carb cleaner in there and it starts up. So after cranking this thing over for way too long, I realized that it wasn't going to start and looked at the faults again. There's two that keep coming back. It's the mass airflow sensor and the P0611 fuel injection control. Keeps coming back, can't clear it, keeps coming back, along with the permanent codes, which I still don't know how to get rid of those. Apparently you gotta just go through driving cycles, but I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about getting fire in the hole here. So the next thing I did was, I ohm checked that suspect injector, and according to the internet, it checked okay. So then I followed the wires back here to the electrical box area. Had to pull out this air filters, this plastic piece here. This is the cover for the electrical box. It got me back here. Next thing I did was I ohm checked. Just did a continuity check. Put the old meter on beep mode there and checked the fuses, and I found this bottom one here, this 20 ampere was blown. So I figured out pull all these fuses out at the same time with this connector here. The whole top comes off with all the fuses in it, then you slide it off and get the fuses out. Put a new fuse in there, put it back together. Still didn't run. Still P0611 and mass airflow codes. So next thing I did was I ohm checked the injector right here at the ECM, and these twisted pairs here are all the injector wires. All 6 of them were almost exactly the same. The injectors, I'm pretty sure, are not my problem. I also checked all the fuses inside the car here in this bottom fuse box. Show you where it's at here. There's a bunch of fuses down here. Just did a quick continuity check. They all checked fine. All your engine control stuff's under the hood anyway. And I also checked the ones in the back here. There's another fuse box right there. Every single one of those fuses were good, which surprised me because it's BMW. There's usually something that doesn't work. So that led me to this P0611. It's got to be the computer, and as you guys probably know, it's not a cheap part, and there's no easy way to do it if you don't have the BMW software to program it. So I wanted to confirm my diagnosis. So I pulled the ECM out and I used a razor blade and pried it up a little bit and cut this seal, and it was full of this oil substance, which has me wondering if it's not diesel fuel traveling through the wires from that injector that was full. Maybe it was full of diesel and not water like I thought. Anyways, down here at the bottom where this thing would sit in the car like this, there's a burnt up part. So there, I'm thinking I found my P0611 fault code. And we got to get a new computer on the way here and see if we can't get this thing fixed.